What's happening, Wisdom Warriors? Back at it for another video. How's everybody doing? Happy sunshine, happy days. Um, yeah, we're going to get into something interesting, kind of a continuation of the video I dropped yesterday and the short I dropped earlier. It seems like people have been responding in a positive way, and want to go down deeper down this topic. And just to let you know, that mail package that you see back there was the camera, and it's here. And now I have to charge it up and get used to using it and test it out, and then send it to a few-minute video to the editor, and we shall be off with better quality videos, better sound. We'll be editing them, and just to bring you better content overall. Because again, I don't check these videos that I post. I record them, I drop it, whatever comes through, and I post them. Now, mind you, I've had feedback from subscribers saying that there was no sound and whatnot and things like that, and so I took them down and deleted them. But it's going to be different. I'm still going to be posting, unedited videos, because I don't want to really at this point put a delay in the upload of content. So what I'll do is probably have some series that I do, like the people pleasing series, and maybe I'll do some other ones, because I have some other ideas of ones that I've seen that people do resonate with, that I think I'm going to make series, a few video series or whatever, however long I feel like a message needs to be brought. So I got a book that I'm really intrigued to read and hear his perspective, that came, which wasn't even supposed to be here yet, but I will go into that in more detail in upcoming videos. But I want to get into the receiving and giving aspect, and how important that is in our lives here on planet Earth, and how vital it is that we essentially have a balance. And it's not only giving in a materialistic way or financial way, or in content, or helping somebody. There has to be a balance. And I can tell you this right now, something that just came in, like a download popped in, and just like nurses and doctors, how they give of themselves mostly all the time, and a lot of them that I've met are extremely tired and exhausted and drained. Mind you, they're maybe possibly living their purpose, but they're giving of their energy too much. They're overdoing it. And I can tell you this, in my dad's journey and watching him, and not only his, but my own journey. If you are an empath, most empaths give a lot of themselves, and then have a hard time receiving. I can tell you this with the utmost certainty, that on holidays and birthdays, I got more gratification by giving than I did receiving, like gifts. Whether it be a relationship I was just starting out with, I found myself right in the beginning, maybe even sometimes meeting them the first time and giving them gifts, because I got like a rush off of it, and it made me feel good. It made me feel, I felt good. It was almost like I was getting a dopamine hit, like of pleasure of giving. just giving a gift or giving gifts or seeking out gifts that I know those people would like and then giving it to them and watching the smile on their face. It was me getting that external validation, like, oh man, I got them this stuff and now they I just saw them with a smile on their face and they are. So what do you think that is? That's external validation. That's getting validation, like, oh, I'm loved. I'm loved because this person sees me now because I gave them a gift. And I was kind of taught that way growing up by my father. And he was a big time giver. He was a very much so a giver, not only giving and helping others with their health because of what he went through, and now he had felt the urgency that, hey, I got to give back, I got to help, and then he was told numerous times throughout his life by an Indian in Sedona, which I had brought to you guys' attention on a previous video, that told him, "Be careful. You don't have many lives left." I think it was just a metaphor, but he was forewarned, and many times I feel like he was warned. I even warned him numerous times throughout his life, and you have to be sure to have that balance. And I can tell you right now, when we had holidays and we would exchange gifts, I was the last one to open my gifts. I felt very cringy. That's the best way I can describe it, in a sense that I felt off when people would give me stuff, and everyone would tell me, "Why aren't you opening your gifts?" And I would be like, "You open yours." And then I diverted the attention off of me to them and said, "Why aren't you opening yours? I'll open mine later." Or if it was for my birthday, I would they would want to give it to me early, and I'd tell them, "No, I want to wait." And then I would essentially like leave the stuff there off to the side. Like, it was very, very difficult for me to accept or receive. But I could give, and I would give a lot. I would give a bunch of gifts, and I would search out and make sure I pay attention to what they like and what they don't like, and then find the things that I know they need and want, just so that I could be loved and accepted and seen. But not only that, I was a giver. And it was funny because I think about it, and that was happening in all aspects of my life, with friendships, with romantic partners, with family, with my own stuff and my own situations, where, as I described on a previous video, the balance of going to the gym was so excessive, and everything in my life was either all the way to the right or all the way to the left. I described this to you guys in a previous video, versus being dead center and in balance. I'd either eat too much sugar or eat too much chocolate or not eat enough, or give too much or not give enough, or not ask for help because I was trained and taught that we can do it all ourselves. And we're separate. We can do it all ourselves. I don't need anybody. I can do it myself. But then come to find out, the universe put me in these situations, like a health challenge, where I was forced to ask for help. And I've been seeing that a common theme as we went into 2023 and even going forward now. People are finding themselves sick. People are finding themselves losing relatives and family members and friends that are close to them that they've relied on for things for most of their life. Now, you see where the balance is? How the universe comes in and does that? Now, it's not to hurt you. You may look at it that way. Me losing my father, I there's moments where I look at it that way, and then there's moments I don't, where it kind of sucks. And why didn't he change? But then I understand that if you look at the master plan of the universe, there is so much that we can't understand and figure out from the thinking mind because of the ego and the way that ego thinks and wants to protect us. But to tell you to say that, I've been hearing things like, I heard this story of a woman that basically broke her leg and found herself on a 2 or 3 story apartment where she lived. And she could not go up and down the stairs, especially when she bought groceries or going out to do things or even go to the doctor. She found herself having to ask for help from people she didn't want to ask help from. Why? Because she never did. She always felt, I'm independent, I got this. Not asking help from the universe, not asking help from her guides and spirit guides. Like, they're all here waiting for us to ask them for help and guidance. And then when you do that, you have to be patient and pay attention to the signs that you're getting, whether it be synchronicities through numbers, through signs, through somebody giving you a message, from a YouTube video, from me speaking to you on this video, from to a family member, to a parent, to a friend, to something in the sky. Messages come in all forms. I get them all the time. I get numbers all the time. 1111, I see 555, 444. I mean, hell, on my way home from the water, that I got a sign through a video that, hey, it might be a good time to go seek some water and meditate and ask for guidance from my spirit guides and angels. So I did. What did I do? I got the message. Out of the whole video that he was putting out, I got, maybe you should go to the water, and I feel like your sign is calling for you to go to the water, and sit there, meditate, sit with yourself, sit in stillness, and ask for help and ask for guidance. And it's funny, like, these situations that we find ourselves in, even like I've talked to you guys about the Akashic Records, or last night I had my second tarot class, which was amazing. And I'm kind of disappointed because I was rushing this morning. Never got a chance to ask Spirit for my card for the day. So why don't we do it while we're on here right now? Spirit, show me the card for today that I didn't get a chance to receive this morning. And mind you, as I'm shuffling the deck, even asking Spirit for guidance and messages, and then they give it to you, that's receiving. That's the receiving mode. And it can be it's very easy to walk through life busy and staying busy and doing the things we do and not be in the receiving mode. The receiving for abundance, because that's receiving. The receiving for, then you wonder why you're having financial difficulties or difficulties in romantic partnerships or friendships or family members, because we don't have a good balance in all areas of our life. And that here we go. This one kind of just flew out. Page of Pentacles, which didn't really fully fly out, but we're gonna go with that one. But I kind of want to put that one back because I don't really feel like it fully. That came out. That was coming out. King of Cups. And look at that, man. What I get from that, or no, I'm sorry, excuse me, I read it backwards. Knight of Cups. What I get from that, if you look, he's very calm. There's water. He's patient. The horse is like kind of, just at a standstill and just patiently waiting. for what's going to come through. And, as you can see, the water's there, the mountains in the background, and he's holding the cup, and what does that kind of tell you? It kind of goes along with this video of receiving and giving. Like he's patiently waiting with the cup, and, if your cup's half empty or your cup's half full, you're not going to operate in a good way in life. And that requires balance. And then even if your cup's overflowing, that's still not really fully balanced. So maybe in watching this video and seeing this card and see what you get from this card. Watch the video, screenshot this, look at the card, analyze it, feel into it, feel your intuition, what you feel from it. But I get that this knight is balanced. And he's patiently waiting for whatever's going to come. And he's ready. He's ready for whatever's going to come. He's patient for the unknown, and he's just there patiently waiting in the mountains, in the calmness, in the stillness. The horse is still and calm, and he's holding his cup just ready for whatever he's gonna face going forward. So see what you get out of it. And I'm gonna sit on this a little more as late for the rest of the evening. But the biggest thing that I can tell you in my life and in all my years of being incarnated on this earth is balance has been the biggest struggle for me in all areas of my life, financially, romantically, family related. I never really had a good balance, like going on a trip or, hey, I feel like I need to get away. Let me do that. Let me plan that. Hey, I feel like I need this in my life. Like I said, it came with a lot of overdoing, either all the way to one side or all the way to the other. And this video and making this video for you all is giving me a chance to evaluate my own life and where and what parts I am not balanced. And again, it goes back to giving and receiving. Because if you're giving too much, you're going to burn out. Like I had burnout numerous times in my life. And if you're receiving too much, I don't really know the bottom line is if you're receiving too much, you're going to end up being put in a situation or with people that you have to give. And that doesn't mean always giving material things or financial. That can mean giving yourself, which I found myself doing. And then I was put in those situations, right, that I was giving too much. And I wasn't balanced in the situation. And I experienced burnout in 2020. That's exactly what I was doing. I was giving too much. And by the time, before I knew it, 4 or 5 months later, or actually not 4 or 5 months later, but this was more in the winter time of the first part of that year. And I found myself by the summertime, I hit burnout. I knew it. I knew it right away. I was at the water, pacing around, just being there, and all of a sudden, boom! I felt like I hit a wall, and I felt the burnout. I knew it right away. I knew it. I was actually talking to somebody, and I said, "Oh my God, I feel like 2017, 2018 is all over again. I'm repeating it all over again because that's exactly what I was doing then." I found myself overdoing the gym. I found myself, women would tell me, "Man, we're dating and you're like, you spend more time at the gym than you spend with me." And it was like the relationships weren't even balanced. We didn't even spend that much time together. It was like under time. It was like so limited where it would be like, it's almost like it's forceful to spend time because she had family obligations and kids, her kid, or whatever the case may be. And it was a, it was a hamster wheel pattern that kept regurgitating itself. It kept cycling over and over again with different women, just a different face, different body, but it was the same exact thing all over again. I found myself in the same situations. They didn't have time for me. I didn't have time for them. There was no balance. I was giving too much to certain parts of my life and not receiving. Like I said, even at that time, now I'm much more in the receiving mode, also in the giving mode. You know, I don't find myself feeling like awkward receiving from somebody or like, oh yeah, I can't do that. I can't accept that. Like, I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to accept that for what I'm doing for you. And I felt myself doing that last year in a couple different jobs that I was taking on, that I was like, started to question when it was time for me to send the bill, if I was worthy enough for what I was sending versus what I gave for that. If you see what I'm saying. And it can happen in those forms too. And like, let's say you're like a freelancer and you worked a certain amount of hours and you send an invoice to whoever you're working for. And then you could feel some kind of guilt or maybe some kind of like reluctance to send the bill because you don't feel worthy enough that your time, the time you spent, was worth what you're charging them. And I felt that last year. I was getting that a lot. I was experiencing that a lot. And every week when the time came, I felt like I wasn't worth what I was asking for. And it took me a lot of work up to this point to accept and know my value and my worth and say, you know what? Like, I'm doing more than enough. I'm using valuable energy of mine that I can't go back. I'm using my time, which I can't get back. None of us can. We all have the same time, you know. Well, we don't have all the same time because you can transition on a different year than I can or age. But we have the same time in the same amount of, in this, you get what I'm saying. We have 24 hours in a day. Same thing, everybody, you know. Some people's life here on earth is shorter or longer than others. That is different. But we all have the same amount of time in a day. And everybody's time is just as valuable as anybody else's. And it's actually, I feel like, even more valuable than what we even get asked for. Then you can go back to like a person like Tony Robbins, who doesn't play with it. I mean, just one seminar is like over $25,000. He has gotten to a point in his life where he knows his worth and his value, and he commands it and receives it, and I'm sure, doesn't feel shame or guilt or even fear of even asking for that, because he knows what he's bringing is of value, and he is value. And that is the most valuable thing we all have, when you realize your worth and your value and what you bring to the table. And then the ante starts going up. Like, you start realizing, like, I'm not going to spend my time with these individuals because I know my value and my worth. And my value and worth is very, very valuable. And I will not give that time away to just anybody. And I feel like I'm starting to be in that space and to realize what my time is worth and what my value is worth and what I bring to the table, because it's a lot. I have a lot of value and life experience, and I've gotten to the point where I make sure I'm doing things for myself, to love my body and to love who I am and to love on myself and love all up on myself, like I've talked to you guys about numerous times, you know. And I do a little bit, and then I go and I break it up, and then I go and I take care of stuff for myself. And then, like today, I went to the water, I went to the park, I went in nature. You got to get that balance, because just by you going out in nature and taking a walk or giving yourself exercise brings in balance and brings in love for yourself, and that will then balance out all areas of your life, which is something that I've struggled with majority of my life. And I watched my father struggle with it, and he either put too much into doing paperwork or not enough. And it was never this even keel, this ebb and flow, this balance. It never was. And I picked up on that at a young age and learned that at a young age. And society puts that on us too and projects that on us too. And then you find people with massive health challenges due to the fact that, they're overdoing it. Oh, I'm working like 80 hours a week. How can you get any part of your life in balance, even financially, if you're tipping the scales that far? If you're overdoing it to that extreme, you're burning out your body. You're burning out every area of your life, and it's going to show in every area of your life. You're not going to be able to give enough to your relationship, so it's going to start crumbling and falling apart. You're not going to give enough to your financial aspect or your career. It's going to start crumbling and falling apart. You're not going to give enough to your family or to yourself, for that matter, and you come first. I mean, because if you don't give to yourself, how are you going to give to these areas of your life? And I find that sometimes in my life still. It can be difficult. But I make sure every single day I wake up, and I get up early, man. I'm up at like 2:33 in the morning, and I'm meditating. Sometimes I end up going into a comatose state and I fall asleep, back asleep, but I'm in these deep, deep dreaming states, and they're giving me messages. And then I get into breath work, and I do that for a good 40 minutes. And then I get into yoga, which, now that I'm working on the stretching aspect of my body, I'm going to get back into the yoga. I needed to get that in a better space because it was lacking. And it was showing in my back, and it was showing in my hamstrings, and it was showing in my neck, experiencing spasms. And they're not fun. If you've ever had them, man, I've had some severe ones. But I realized that I'm tall and slender, and I need to stretch. It's important because, the hamstrings get stretched, and they're tight, and then the stress adds to it, and it goes to those areas, and then boom, your back spasms, or goes out, or your neck goes out, or whatever, or your ribs, whatever the case may be. I've experienced them all. And it's no joke. It's not fun. But it's a sign from the universe. Hey, man, you got to look at something you're doing. Change it. Change it. But I didn't. It happened over and over again. Yeah, I started to stretch again. Then I'd go to the gym and overdo the gym, and then my body would go out. I'd spasm. So therein lies the balance. I even remember one instance where literally I was picking up the curl bar off the ground at the gym. This had to be well over 5 years ago. And when I was still in Florida, and I'm going on the floor to bend over, pick up the curl bar, and what do you think happened? My whole back went out, spasmed. I put it down. I couldn't even, almost barely walk out of the gym. But the crazy thing is, I didn't even ask for any help. I struggled walking out of that gym, getting into my car in severe pain. I couldn't even move. I don't even know how I did it. But I didn't even ask for help. And that's what I mean by receiving and giving. And then I was forced into asking for help from people. Just like the time in 2017 where my back spasmed from picking up an empty gift bag. I was wrapping some gifts for somebody, picked up the empty gift bag by the string. It was empty, mind you. Literally, my entire back went out. It felt like a string snapped in my back, like a whip, and it snapped, and boom, I was on the floor. I could not get up, and nobody was around. My family was in another state. Nobody was around. Luckily, the girl I was dating, luckily, I was able to like lift my arm up and like slide the phone off the dresser. Thank God it wasn't in another room, or I would have been screwed because I could not get up by myself. So there was a reason that it happened the way it happened. I was being guided and protected. Okay. And I reached my hand on the dresser or my foot. I'm not really sure because I couldn't even move the lower body. I was scared to even move it because I thought that I thought I was like crippled at that point. I've never had that. I've had spasm, but never to the point where it felt like a string snapped in my back and my back went out. I went on the floor and I was flat on the floor and I lifted my arm up like this. Luckily, either my arm or my foot, I can't remember. It was 2017. So then I pushed the phone off and I was able to call my sister who was, maybe like 15 minutes away or something like that. And I called the girl I was dating and they both came and helped me, got me up, and we went over to the chiropractor, and they helped me. But what did I have to do? I was put in a situation to ask for help because there was no way that I could have done that without help. You get where I'm coming with this? So the more you don't look inward and look at the areas of your life and make sure that you're asking for help from the universe, from spirit, from your guardians, angels, because we're always guided and protected. Asking for the guidance and the help, but also, having a good balance of that, versus like being resistant to help, being resistant to being given things, being resistant to giving things yourself. My dad, he was an overgiver. And then when it came to like receiving, even down to before he passed, I mean, his birthday was in May and he passed in August, May, June, July. So like 4 months later, even up to that point, he didn't want to receive. I bought him things that I knew he could use and want, and he was resistant to open the stuff. And you could see it. It was very, very hard for him to receive. Very hard. And I watched that growing up, and I saw that, and it conditioned me to be that way. I don't blame anybody because that's just what I saw growing up. And it's a lot living in the United States. I feel like that is something that is a common theme amongst a lot of us. I don't know about out of the country. I'd love to hear your comments if you are. I know for 100% somebody on this channel that is subscribed is out of the United States. So I would love to hear your comment if that's kind of the way that it is there too. I've traveled to other countries and places, but I don't know if that is the type of culture like we have here, where everything is consumer based and giving, and I think a lot of us have a hard time receiving in all areas of our life, even receiving love from a relationship from the person. We have a hard time with that, opening ourselves up and allowing for the love to come in. Because how can you receive that if you're not receiving, if you're not in the receiving mode? So yeah, you know what? I mean, I could go on and on with this topic because I've experienced both sides, the giving and the receiving. And I've seen it, I've experienced it myself. I'm sure you have. Drop some comments if you like this, and I'll keep going. I'll create a series and I'll drop another video tomorrow potentially if I don't get some other download, and we can go further into this. But there's so many ways you can do it, and keeping yourself in that balance by going in nature, by spending time with yourself, by meditating, by doing yoga, by giving to yourself, getting a massage, taking an Epsom salt bath, breath work. I can go on and on. You don't have to go and buy yourself a gift. You could do that too, but There needs to be balance. And that's what I feel like we're headed now with the collective, balancing that masculine and feminine parts of us. Because if that's not in balance, you're gonna have these crazy unbalanced areas of your life. But I feel like I'm in balance. I feel like I'm balancing more and more every single day. And I'm working on that big time in all areas of my life. So that's something that I know has been a struggle for me receiving. I could give easily, but receiving, it's almost like I look at it as, am I worthy of receiving that? Whether it be somebody giving me some money, whether it be somebody giving me a gift, it's almost like don't. I think that now it's a lot better because now I am able to, but man, I could give so much easier for some odd reason. And it seems like a pattern for a lot of us that receiving is much more difficult. Not for everybody, but then the person that receives more and can easily receive probably has a hard time giving. I can bet you that. I can bet you that because I've seen it. And then you see, you're like, man, this person is like just take, take, take. They always just take. And that's why you notice it, because they have a hard time giving and they over receive. And you can notice it and you can pick up on it. And I do. And I've seen it. And I've seen people like that. And then you're like, man, that person is like, all they do is take, take, take. There's no balance there. The relationship is not a partnership. And I don't mean romantic only when I say that. It can be anything. It can be a family partnership. It can be a friendship partnership. It can be a romantic. It doesn't matter. A partnership should be a partnership, should be an equal give and take. And if it's not, one person is going to be depleted and is not going to be okay with it. And then eventually the relationship is just going to fall apart and crumble, because you cannot have a healthy relationship without that balance of an even give and take. It's about ebb and flow. It's about and if it doesn't work, it's not going to work. It's going to crumble. And you're going to find yourself, one person is going to be overdoing it. One person is going to be constantly reaching out, constantly. I saw that even with my dad's relationships. And then they ended up just disappearing because the other person was doing too much of the reaching out. And what do you think that does? That creates an imbalance. And when you have an imbalance, it will fall apart because that person will eventually get fed up and disappear. And that's just the way it works. Whether it be a romantic relationship, it'll end up just crumbling eventually and they'll just disappear because there's too much on one side. Just like I said, over excessively going to the gym. What happened? I started to have breakdowns in the body. I started to have issues with relationships. Oh, you're at the gym all the time. You go on vacation, you're at the gym. You're there every single day of the week, more than you even spend time with me. So what happens? What happened? The relationship didn't last. It fell apart. It lasted 6 months and ended. See where I'm going with that? So there has to be a good balance in all areas of your life, or you're going to find these areas that are not, they're going to fall apart. And the person is just going to get fed up and disappear. And you're going to be like wondering why. You say, oh my God, we've had like a 10, 15-year relationship, 20-year relationship, friendship, partnership, family member relationship, and it just dissolves and fizzles out. And then you're like, you don't understand. You're like, I don't understand what happened. Did you give an equal balance of both? Did they give an equal balance of both? Or very close to it? Because if they didn't, then there's your answer why. So we're going to stop there. I know somebody's got something out of this. Let me tell you, because this was flowing. I could keep going, but we're at 40 minutes and I said I was going to cut these videos, and see, that's not balance. I've got to work on the balance. I said I was going to do like 15, 20-minute videos, and it hit 40 minutes. So yes, I'm going to work on balance of these videos. because not everybody wants long videos, but you could pause it. But does that mean you'll probably come back and watch the rest? Probably not. So I'm better off doing, and let me know what you think. If you like these long videos, let me know. Or if you like me doing and breaking them up into a series, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, comment, do it all. We're growing this channel. It's growing. And I'm a Cancer, and I told you that. That's one of my signs. And well, that's my sign, my astrological sign that everybody goes by the norm of looking up your birth date. That's what I am, a Cancer. And Cancers right now, their glow up is coming, man. And I keep hearing multiple tarot card readings about Cancer and how this is our time. All of a sudden, boom, it's just going to be like my YouTube channel is just going to explode. And it's starting to happen. We're getting like a subscriber a day. Some days we got 3 or 4, but we're now at 42, I think, something like that. So if you watched a couple videos ago, we were below 40. So we broke the threshold of 40. And, this one guy I watch, I'm just going to end it here. This one guy I watch, 3 years ago, he had 40 subscribers. Now he has 1 point something million, 3 years later. Pretty amazing. So, it's about to get crazy on Wisdom Warriors, and we're growing this community, whether anyone likes it or not. So consistency, 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 and balance. Pay attention to what areas of your life you are not in balance, because that is something you want to work on. You want to look at yourself and say, how can I better balance this area of my life? When you have balance, it's perfect. Everything is perfect. I've never had that my entire life. Now I'm starting to come into balance, or I feel like I'm in balance already, but I'm working on all the areas of my life and making them, or not making, because, forget about that, just surrendering and letting go and saying, okay, what can I do to improve this area of my life to have balance in it? So something you got to do for yourself too, if you find yourself with, areas of your life crumbling, or have been, or areas that you overdo or you underdo. That's something to look at, man. Something to check in with yourself. I love you all so much. Thank you again. Thank you for all the subscribers we're getting on a daily basis. The views, at least the views are going up dramatically. I know these videos are helping individuals out there, and we're just going to help continue to come from the heart, serve, share, and just open people up to look at things in their life and how they can improve. And we can just keep opening our hearts more and more and connecting to one another and loving one another. I love you all so much, from my heart to yours. Thank you again for being a part of this community. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, do it all if you haven't already. I love you all so much. Take care. We got so much coming. I got my 4K camera. We're getting it on. We're going to bring some good quality content to you all, just from experience and from my heart. And that's what I've been called to do. Continue coming from the heart and being transparent and being authentic. And that's what I plan to do. I love you all so much. Take care. Let's go, Wisdom Warriors. We got this.